Let's explore an excerpt of Gyatso's Song of Enlightenment, and then let's meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is brought to you by the good-hearted folks who help support this channel on Patreon. This evening, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two, but first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as transformatively as Yoda on Dagobah under the guidance of Qui-Gon Jinn, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Good news! If at any point during this evening's live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Let's chant. The incomparable lion roar of the doctrine. How sad that people are stubbornly ignorant. Just knowing their crime blocks enlightenment. Not seeing the secret of the Tathagata teaching. This only really makes sense in light of the previous passage. So let's go there right now after I add an indent, because I'm funny that way. Pradunasura broke the gravest precepts, but he went on to realize the unborn. The Buddhahood he attained in that moment lives with us now in all time. The incomparable iron roar of the doctrine. How sad that people are stubbornly ignorant, just knowing their crime blocks enlightenment, not seeing the secret of the Tathagata teaching. So arguably the 48th paragraph is just an echo of the 47th paragraph. So this is only really going to make sense in light of the specific technique that he's referring to. So let's look at that right now. I'm going to tap button 9. Mindfulness and meditation as a team are known by many names, such as Zen, Shan, Dhyana, Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, Trekcho, and Slice Through. Despite the grandiosity of their names, the technique is fairly simple. Physically, you'll want to emulate the posture described in the statue of the Buddha in the center of the screen. When it comes to respiration, during the inhalation, you'll want your inhalation to be shorter and sharper, and your exhalation to be longer and softer. Mentally, and this is the big deal now, let us begin with mindfulness. With each inhalation, we'll want to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. We are due to natural selection, every time we inhale, we are wired to access our sympathetic nervous system, which has evolved not for active concentration, but its opposite, which is merely noticing, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. During each inhalation, we are wired, we evolve to notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, as including emotion, intention, thought, memory, and imagination. We could notice the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. What do we do with these things we notice? That's where meditation comes in. During each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb relaxing. Due to natural selection, every exhalation is wired to our parasympathetic nervous system, which evolved to both physically relax as well as mentally release. Our job is not to shove away unpleasant experience. Our job is not to shove away our primal drives to shove or reach or cling. Our job is to make peace with the present moment, be it glorious or be it grotesque, be it interesting or be it boring. This is the essence of the Buddha's path. Now let's return to the opening passage. The incomparable lion roar of the doctrine. How sad that people are stubbornly ignorant, just knowing that crime blocks enlightenment. The students of Trungpa Rinpoche are fond of saying that Mila had a peasant's comprehension of karma, wherein there will be dire, eternal, or near-eternal consequences for every misdeed of mind, speech, and body. Now I gotta turn to something else real quick. Let's tap button 5 and let's look at 2 lists. Let's see here. So we can traverse the path of yin, which is matriarchy, or we can traverse the path of yang, which is patriarchy. On patriarchy's path, we tend to be rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel. In our rigidity and our controlling tendencies, we tend to be literal-minded, and we view the hells or the hungry ghost realms as very real and horrible places, as opposed to merely metaphors of hate and greed. When we traverse the path of yin, the path of true matriarchy, we tend to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind. Now, with this context, armed with this context, let's return to tonight's passage. How sad that people are stubbornly ignorant, just knowing that crime blocks enlightenment. So let's look at this carefully. It's not just that people are ignorant, it's that they are stubbornly ignorant. And with this phrase, it really does a good job of inferring the rigidity, doesn't it? How about this word here? Not only they're ignorant, the ignorance is nothing compared to the peril of arrogance. Arrogance doesn't suspect, it knows. When one reads the Christian New Testament, like specifically the Synoptic Gospels, we come across the parable of the wineskins. And when I paraphrase, do not pour new wine into old wineskins, lest the old wineskins burst and the new wine be lost. Rather, pour new wine into new wineskins. One of the things we see in the Synoptic Gospels of the Christian New Testament is that the Pharisees were so enthusiastic in their beliefs that they became intoxicated with their own certitude, unwilling to be flexible and even entertain the possibility that what their teachers taught them, or their teachers' teachers taught them, may be wrong. So most people are taught as to read the New Testament and to feel bad for the folly of the Pharisees. Likewise, we can feel bad for anybody who is so rigid in their certitude that they completely unwilling to question what they've been taught or what is a common assumption, be it culturally or religiously. For our stubbornness and our arrogance can blind us to the secret of the Buddha's teaching. Tathagata is one of many synonyms for Buddha. Tathagata literally means thus gone one, or thus come one, depending upon which translations you prefer. So what is this Tathagata teaching? That we access the power of mindfulness meditation during each inhalation and exhalation through the cunning use of noticing and relaxing, which leads to releasing. That's it. Practice that effectively at least once every 12 hours. And it will liberate us from the tyranny of fear, helping us to love in a manner that is spontaneous and uncontrived. Not only will we love aspirationally, but we'll find ourselves increasingly going through life not from a place of scatteredness or contrivance, but from a place of centered spontaneity. Centered spontaneity gives action to our love. So this mindfulness and meditation generate the love and the centered spontaneity that can make of each of us spiritual superheroes. If you've just joined, welcome aboard. Remember, if at any point during this live stream you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation or Buddhist philosophy or how to apply them to your life, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Drinking warm water out of a mason jar looks suspicious, doesn't it? When I was a little boy, my grandmother and grandfather would come over to play bridge with my parents. And my grandmother would let me sip from her 7-Up. Little did I know it was full of vodka. Just as if you go to a restaurant, they'll often give you an hors d'oeuvre and a dessert. Our dessert is going to be a very brief chant, wishing others well. Our opening hors d'oeuvre is going to be a very brief chant, allowing us to exercise empathy and enthusiasm. Let's chant together right now. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. All right. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen, in ridiculously small font, we read first collection of 16 sets of 16 rounds. Back in junior high, when the crust of the earth was still cooling, I began working out with weights. I began pumping iron, and I was introduced to the concept of repetitions and sets. In meditation, we replaced the word repetition with round. In this tradition, a round consists of one inhalation followed by one exhalation. We can count 16 rounds on just 4 fingers and 1 thumb. During each inhalation, we can advance our thumb. And so, with each in-breath, we could count 1, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we can count to 16 on the 4 fingers and 1 thumb of our left hand. We can count sets of 16 on our right hand. First set of 16, second set of 16, third set of 16, and so on. Is this mandatory? No. Did the Buddha say to do this? No. Did the Buddha say not to do this? No. I am damaged goods. I was born with a whole lot of health challenges, disabilities. 2 of them, the disabilities, are ADHD and autism. So for my furry little brain, this really helps me. If you are just have optimal physical and neurological health and you don't need this, fine. I'm not going to make you do it. I'm not going to show up at your front door and pelt you with marshmallows. That costs extra. So, let's start meditating. let's seal our practice with a bit of the wishing love. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, freed. If you feel that I have earned it, you could type something in the chat window. You could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could share it with a friend. You could even help support this channel on Patreon. Whether you do or whether you don't, in 11 hours, I very much intend to return to lead tomorrow's early morning meditation. Until then, may you and yours be happy and healthy. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.